Dadarastaram Sambantavam Swaganam Hikatam Hatva Sukam Shamamagala. What translation? Papam vices Eva Satan Ashrayet must come upon Asman as Atwa by killing Etan all this Atatayanam aggressions Tasman therefore now never Aha decided Vayam we Kantum to kill Dadrastam the sons of the Drashtra Sabadavan along with friends Swajanam kinsman he Satan Kantam out Atwa by killing Shukina happy Shama will we become Mahadava or Krishna husband of the goddess of fortune. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressions. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Papa, according to Vedic injunctions, there are 6 kinds of aggressions. Number 1 is a poison giver. Number 2 is one who sets fire to the house. Number 3, one who attacks with deadly weapons. Number 4, one who plunders riches. 5, one who occupies another's land. And 6, one who kidnaps a wife. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting any ordinary man. But Arjuna was not an ordinary man. He was saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for a Kshatriya, although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly. He should not be cowardly. For example, Lord Rama was so saintly that people even now are anxious to live in the kingdom of Lord Rama, Rama Rajya. But Lord Rama never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor against Rama because Ravana kidnapped Rama's wife Sita. But Lord Rama gave him sufficient lessons unparalleled in the history of the world. In Arjuna's case, however, one should consider the special type of aggressors, namely his own grandfather, own teacher, friends, sons, grandsons, etc. Because of them, Arjuna thought that you should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressors. Besides that, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Such injunctions for saintly persons are more important than any political emergency. Arjuna considered that rather than kill his own kinsmen for political reasons, it would be better to forgive them on grounds of religion and saintly behavior. He did not, therefore, consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. After all, kingdoms and pleasures derived are not permanent, so why should he risk his life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Arjuna's addressing of Krishna's mother or the husband of the goddess of fortune is also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as the husband of the goddess of fortune, he should not induce Arjuna to take up a matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sadguru Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Sin will overcome us if we slay our aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain on Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how would we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? So Arjuna here is, chapter 1, observing the armies in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We see that Krishna having drawn the chariot in the midst of the two armies, the Kurus and the Pandavas. So Arjuna, observing his enemies who are actually his relatives. There is no mingling. It was a family affair, as it is shown here, that Krishna was going, Arjuna was going to, fight it out with his cousin brothers, Duryodhana and his 100 brothers. And then we had his, grandfather who was on the opposite side, and his spiritual master, and a lot of other, great friends and, close relatives. And it was a whole, close-knit family network. But still, this war had to take place because, as the purport is describing here, that according to the Vedic injunctions, there are 6 aggressors who are supposed to be killed instantly. And it points out the poison giver. We understand that at one point, when Duryodhana, as the Pandavas were growing up, we see that personalities like Bhim, they were so much very strong, and the activities, they were very great. And so Duryodhana, he was very envious of Bhim. And he was envious basically for all of the brothers, of the Pandava brothers. So they had, he had wanted actually to kill Bhim. And then, they told the Pandavas to go out for, an outing. They went outside there along the Ganga, and then while they were playing, they were, after they were kind of hungry, they brought some food for them to eat. And unfortunately, the food that was given to Bhim had been poisoned. And so, when he was poisoned, and then he became unconscious, and then he was thrown into the river. But, fortunately, he, never died. He was rescued. And then we see that the next stage is when the Pandavas, they were, put in a house made of shira, flammable components, and it was, a trap that was set for them to be killed. And, fortunately again, when they were supposed to be killed at that point, some, family who are passing by, kind of drunkards, and, they needed a place to sleep. And the Pandavas actually, they were warned, they were told that this is the day that, you guys are supposed to be killed in this house. So when this family, fortunately or unfortunately, passed by and they wanted to take shelter, they were given shelter into the house. And then the Pandavas, the 5 Pandavas, they escaped, and the house was set on fire. And the poor family were got killed in the house. And one who attacks with deadly weapons, several times we see that the Pandavas, they were attacked by Duryodhana. Duryodhana had so many plans, the way he wanted, like when the Pandavas were sent to the forest to live there. We see that Duryodhana kind of attacked them and wanted to kill them in the forest there, but fortunately he was not able to kill them. And then Draupadi, they wanted, they took her from where she was, and they wanted to strip her naked in the assembly when they were doing the gambling in the palace. So all these 6 aggressions, they had been done to the Pandavas, and there was no reason actually for Arjuna, who at this point Krishna is trying to get him involved in this battle, but still he's wavering. He's not really. It's not really decided. But as Prabhupada is explaining here, he was such a saintly person that he was not ready to engage in this ghastly war, and he was acting like a saint. And Prabhupada is mentioning also here that him being a Kshatriya, he was not acting in a proper manner. It has been severally explained that for us even to maintain our bodies, we have to do some activities. So, for the purpose, we cannot say that, like Arjuna right here, he cannot just say that, he cannot engage himself in this war and then run to the forest and become inactive, or, start doing meditations and, come to God realization. He will be, but at this point, we are still, seeing that he's still perplexed. He's still, not really interested or not wanting to get involved in this war. And even Prabhupada is giving another example of Lord Ram. Lord Ram was such a great personality. He was a king, and a very strict one also. But when Ravan, he came and kidnapped Sita, then there was no way Ram was going to forgive Ravan. We see that he, marshaled his, devotees, Hanuman, and all these other, people around Hanuman, they came, and then, they had to make a bridge to cross over to, Lanka, and, capture Ravana, fight with Ravan, and then, he had to get Sita back to his possession. So, that was another, great battle also that Lord Ram, got involved in. And, generally Ram was such a great king, even after, he was also forced to go to stay in the forest. Still, the citizens of Ayodhya, they were so much attached to him, they were so much, in love with him that they stayed waiting for all those years to expire so that Ram can come back and claim his kingdom, or can come and rule over them. We see even when, he was walking one time, just, finding out what the citizens are talking about him, and then, this householder or whatever, he was admonishing, he was kind of quarreling with his wife, and he was, telling him that, I'm not Ram, that I will, accept you, to come back, after you've, spent your night outside. And then, because, Ram wanted to, rule in a certain way that he did not want any conflicts, he did not want any issues to be raised against him, like he was not a good leader, or, he did not have, moral characters. It's not like, present, governments and, present presidents and all these guys who are ruling nowadays, because the moral order, the discipline, it's very, very low. I mean, the presidents now, they are plundering the economies of the country. They are, making the citizens poor, high taxation. There is, no jobs, no food, people are killing themselves because they cannot even, live a very simple life. Prabhupada used to mention that, because of this development, what we call advancement in civilization, people have moved away from the villages where they were supposed to be doing farming and growing crops, raising, cows for their, basic needs. So everybody has rushed into these cities. Some they call them concrete jungles. So people living in these concrete jungles, they don't have, so much to do, because there's no enough employment. The factories that, manufacture bolts and nuts are not, having enough opportunities for everybody to go and work in these factories. And also these factories, Prabhupada mentions, people don't eat bolts and nuts. People eat grains and cereals and milk that is produced from the land. And even the land itself now, they have all, grabbed, the people who are prominent in the society. They have grabbed all this land. You have a lot of wars, in some parts of this country, whereby you find that pastoralists, people who keep cows for beef, that's another issue also. But they don't even have land for grazing their cows, because, some few, people have grabbed so much land. So this is the way the Kali Yuga, has overtaken events. This is how present day leaders, they are not up to their moral standards. They are not ruling as per, way they are supposed to rule. 100%, that's why we used to have this Rajashis. Rajashis means we used to have saintly kings. They were kings, but at the same time, they were very saintly. They really had so much concern. They really took care of their subjects, of their citizens. Actually, in Ayodhya, Ram treated everybody like his family. There was nobody who was looked down upon. So this is what is missing in this nowadays society, and that's why we see all sorts of problems. And here we see one of the major problems is when this Arjun, the Pandavas, they were being neglected actually by their uncle, Duryodhana, and so setting up this very, ghastly war that was just, going to happen. And at this juncture, you see, Krishna and Arjuna, having this conversation of what is to be done and what is not to be done. And as you see, Krishna Arjuna here is trying to play as a good moralist, as a good saintly person. And as we go further, we'll see that he will be awakened from his, deep slumber, from his ignorance, because, Krishna is, telling us, much as you are talking like a learned man, but you are not acting like one. You have to, act as by your status, as you are a Kshatriya. So you are not supposed to run away from this situation. You are not supposed to run away from this war. And so he engages him also in that's what I was saying, that for the benefit we have to for the benefit of maintaining our bodies, we have to do at least some work. And Arjuna, if he doesn't, get into this war, and then, of course he was going to win, because, Krishna was already on his side. That's why they say, calling Krishna Madhava. Madhava means the husband of the goddess of fortune. So, being the husband of the goddess of fortune, you see that God of fortune, Lakshmi Narayan, Lakshmi Devi, she was, his whole fortune, there is all fortune in her. And, so Krishna is kind of, engaging or wanting to engage Arjuna in this war. And Arjuna on the other side is trying to weigh, or he's trying to refuse, so that he can, escape this war. And, he's talking on the same time, like wanting to forgive this, his grandfather, Bhishma, his cousin brothers, and everybody else, so that he can, escape not to engage in this war. And as I say, since Krishna is the husband of the goddess of fortune, so Krishna and Arjuna is, trying to, tell him that, we don't need to kill, we don't need to harm these, people. And even if we, we kill them, what will be the benefit? What are we going to enjoy? It's just a mere kingdom. And then we have, shed a lot of blood, and this will not be kind of a good way, or we will not live happily thereafter because our hands will be, stained in blood. And so, I mean, that's what we are, getting. See, we're just preparing ourselves to delve into more of this dialogue, between Arjuna and Krishna. Why Arjuna should not, forgo, why Arjuna should actually fight this war so that, he can. Basically, it's a war. I say it's a war between the good and the bad. The good were the Pandavas, and the bad were the Kurus, who had, done a lot of atrocities to the Pandavas. And as per, the aggressors, they were supposed to be punished. And, over and over again, Arjuna and them, with Yudhishthira, who was, Dharmaraj, they were very patient and very forgiving. But now, it's said that, this has to come to a stop. It's been going for a long time. And, them, the Kurus, being religious, and the Pandavas being religious. So Krishna was trying to put back, set the right administration for the system, for the government, or for the kingdom to be ruled in justice and in a proper manner, because the Kurus, they were doing ill, they were very evil. And we see the Pandava side, they were very righteous, they were actually devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna being a very friend of Krishna and a very dear devotee of Krishna. And that's why, he's also like, why Krishna, you pushing me to get into this last war. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavad Gita, all glories and symbols of